Get ready to the countdown.
A German zoologist, Dr. Carl Moebius, put pike in a tank with a load of minnows, but he put a glass divider between the pike and the minnows. Quite expectedly, the pike went to attack the minnows, but it kept hitting its nose against the glass divider. After a few hours it gave up and sunk to the bottom of the tank, at which point Dr. Moebius released the glass divider so the minnows disseminated throughout the tank. At that time the pike could have attacked any of the minnows and eaten them. It made no attempt to do so. What the experiment showed is that the pike couldn't get the paradigm shift, that it was now able to eat the minnows that just before it had attempted for several hours to eat and couldn't. So ask yourself, are you suffering from pike syndrome? The fact is, the digital and technological revolution that we're all living through has changed many of the paradigms that previously existed. Mastering digital is not about technology. If we all needed an MBA to be able to use Facebook, it wouldn't have 2 billion users. Getting to grips with digital is not about understanding technology, it's about having a new way of thinking. The starting point for understanding this revolution is that we now live in a world where everybody has a media channel. Media companies are still putting out information like they always did. Businesses now own media channels like websites and LinkedIn profiles and Facebook pages, and every individual also owns a media channel. There are 3 important ramifications of this. Firstly, we live in a world of information overload because everybody's putting out information, media companies, businesses and individuals. But everything in life has a cause and effect. And the direct effect of living in a world of abundance of information is we now live in a world of scarcity of attention. And therefore, the ramification is this. Companies used to be valuable because of what they did. Today, companies are valuable because of the attention they have. The real value today in a business is the attention it has of its audience. Ramification number 2 is this. You now run 2 businesses, whatever it is you do, and a media company. Because you now own media channels, whether it's a website, a Facebook page, a YouTube channel, a LinkedIn page, these work like media channels. With traditional marketing, you would pay to leverage someone else's audience. For example, you may take an advert in a publication. The publication had grown an audience, and you paid to interrupt it temporarily with your message. But your website, your Facebook page, or your YouTube channel doesn't have an audience. In other words, in digital media, what you have to do is grow an audience and then retain it. And that's a media discipline, not a traditional marketing one. And the third ramification is this. Traditionally in marketing, you'd have the audience you wanted to reach and the channels which you used in order to get to them. For example, advertising in a magazine or on television would be the channel which you would use to get to your audience. But in a world where everybody owns a media channel, and in a world where information is increasingly not disseminated by publication or broadcasting, but by social sharing, your customer is now the channel. These are some of the ideas that need to be grappled with if a business is going to become fit for the digital age. Dr. Moebius had to hand feed the pike to prevent it from dying. So if you feel like you've been hitting your head against a glass divider, now's the time to get a new perspective. Like the minnows, the opportunities are disseminating throughout the tank. It's time to go and grab them because no one's going to hand feed your business to ensure it survives.
As the digital, physical, and biological worlds continue fusing together against the backdrop of innovation in artificial intelligence, the world is experiencing the 4th industrial revolution. Advanced wireless technologies, autonomous vehicles, 3D printing, commercial drones, and fintech all serve to open new areas for creativity, innovation efficiency, and economic growth. In fact, some experts estimate that up to 80% of existing jobs will be automated by the 4th industrial revolution. The impact of this transition will reach all countries in the world, bringing opportunities as well as major challenges that could threaten to unleash political, social, and economic instability. The coronavirus pandemic, however, is hotwiring the fourth industrial revolution. The COVID-19 crisis will highlight how countries which began embracing next-generation technologies are set to adapt more easily to ongoing changes, as this disease represents a major paradigm shift. The wealthy countries of the Arabian Peninsula, such as the United Arab Emirates, began preparing for the fourth industrial revolution years ago. As the pandemic rushes the world into the future of digitization at a faster rate, these Gulf states are in comparatively strong position to make this transition smoothly for all the fears of a future where many jobs will cease to exist. These Middle Eastern countries have recognized that automation will create new markets and products while also boosting workers' productivity. They understand that all countries in the world must embrace automation as technology dictates new business models and pathways for government and private businesses to operate innovation hubs. These futuristic cities in the Gulf will help the region achieve AI breakthroughs that will enable countries such as the UAE, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia to play a lead role globally, and that's why we must learn from them. Doesn't matter where you live, you must prepare for the fourth industrial revolution. That's why we prepared for you the Freemium to Freedom Challenge. Get ready for an experience which will prepare you to thrive in the years to come.
Welcome to episode 1 of the Freemium to Freedom 5-Day Challenge, and my name is Frank Mulcahy.
And this is Ernesto Verdugo, and Frank and I are incredibly happy that we are getting started with, I think, one of the most important pieces of the puzzle, the mindset, in order for you to be successful on the virtual and the digital age. So we got started with 2 videos just as a warm-up. The first one was about the pike and the minnows. Frank, what did you think of that video?
That's an incredible video, and it's sad that it actually switches over to main life for a lot of people. The pike didn't realize that he could still eat all those minnows, but because he was told he couldn't for a long period of time. Same thing happens with the big elephant that we see at the zoo or at the circus, where they put this little rope, but it initially started with a big chain, but they reprogram. And unfortunately, today, with the advancement of digitization, automation, we see people are now, well, I'm afraid of technology, so I don't think I can do it. And so when I look at the pike and I look at the minnows out there that are afraid, I tell them, don't buy into that. Stick with us over the next 5 days. We're going to help you with that mindset. That's what I saw with it, Ernesto.
Absolutely. And I mean, especially right now that we are seeing that we are not anymore at the head of what's happening. I mean, we recently have been recently before all this mess started with the pandemic, we've been to Dubai and we've been to Bahrain and we've been to the Middle East. And that's the reason why I also wanted to put together the second video where we're talking about how ahead of the game these guys are in the fourth industrial revolution.
Yeah, indeed. I remember, Ernesto, when we were over in Dubai and Bahrain and Saudi Arabia and Qatar, and to see what they're doing over there, absolutely incredible. With Project 2071, which started in 1971. So the fourth industrial revolution took the UAE from a desolate desert in 1971 to global powerhouse, not only in financial, but it's because of the technological advances.
Frank, before we go into the great content that we have to share, just let me go over some housekeeping elements so that everybody knows exactly what we're going to be doing. So the first thing that I want to share with you is last night we got started with a bonus session with Larry and Taylor Thompson. If you haven't seen it, please make sure to go to the Facebook group. And there in the Facebook group, you can see the replay. And that, of course, is going to be very interesting. It's a great, great session. Now, tonight, when we finish this educational session, please make sure to go again to the Facebook group and join us in the live implementation session. We recommend you to go because right now we have so much to cover in 1 hour that we will not be able to actually answer all your questions, but there we're going to be all the time there for you. Now, if you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, right now you're on YouTube, you're watching us on YouTube, so do it right now. You just see the button just underneath this transmission and you will be able to subscribe. Also, as we are here, please make sure to comment. We are right now, it's Monday night, and we are live here with you. Our team is here with you. And if you comment, we will be able to answer right away. And we will be able to also comment immediately with you. So start already by telling us who you are. Or also, for example, you can tell us where you're at. And we will start already having a short conversation with you. If you are watching this session on YouTube live, you're right now, this Monday, right now, and you're watching live, we're going to give you the first assignment for you to do. Please click on the button that says share, and please go share it in your LinkedIn. Please go share it in your Facebook right now. Now, that doesn't mean so that they can come and watch us. No, what we're going to be sharing is incredible content. So let people know that you are right now with us in this session. So we're going to give you 20 seconds. We're just going to put the timer, and we'll see you in 20 seconds. And last but not least, now that you have done that, I have to tell you that Frank and I love hiding diamonds in every single thing that we do. You're going to be getting diamonds everywhere. Frank, you know them. You have seen some of the diamonds. What could you say about them?
Well, let me just say that, folks, you don't want to miss an episode. You want to pay attention. You want to run the replays, because I give an example, folks, and there's one hidden diamond in there. And I'm especially talking to the people that are always starving for leads and they're buying bad leads. We're going to share one diamond, and it's going to show you how you can actually access over 12,000 people you already know about, you just don't know where they're at, and they're waiting for your message, and it's absolutely free. So don't miss an episode and hit the replays.
Absolutely. That's incredibly important. So let's just get started. And I think I have a question for you that I was a bit hesitant to ask, but I think it's important. Shall we come clean and tell them the mistake that we did when we were actually putting together this challenge?
Well, the mistake we made, Ernesto, is that we have such a clear understanding of the information that people need. But unfortunately, we were actually trying to go after 7, 8, 9, 10 different avatars or individual people, when in essence, what we really found is that this information is for everybody when it comes to the mindset, when it comes to you are good enough, you do have enough knowledge, you do have enough skills. And so what we've done is we actually had to go back in and rewrite a lot of the course material, Ernesto, so that it was simple and duplicatable, and key is easy to implement. Even if you're technically challenged, that's not a problem. And so that was the challenge that we had, was how could we refine that for you?
Yeah, well, one of the big issues is that everybody sees the everybody wants more customers, everybody wants more business, everybody wants to make more money. However, the language that you speak to every single person, it's very different. So right now you're seeing in front of the screen what we call the solution hub. And if you can see at the very center of this chart, you will see the freemium to freedom challenge. However, there's a number of different people that need to listen to a different message. So, for example, speakers need to figure out how they can get more customers or how they can get more gigs.
Right. And insurance and salespeople, it's all about acquisition of new customers. And again, the key in the freemium model, folks, it's acquisition and not sales, because the acquisition will lead to the sales in the freemium model.
Exactly. So it is applicable for salespeople, for insurance people, because of course that freemium, it's incredibly powerful. Same thing, for example, for baby boomers. So there's a lot of baby boomers that right now are retiring, and they do not have enough money to retire. And they're thinking, well, how can I actually make extra money? Well, guess what? With the freemium model, you can also do it. However, if I tell the speaker that we're going to be talking about how to make extra money when you retire, that message is not going to come across. Can you see why we are explaining to you all of this?
And the entrepreneurs and the business owners that their businesses have been totally disrupted after 10, 20, 40, 50 years because of the COVID epidemic. And on top of that, Ernesto, the automation, digitization, and robotization has displaced a lot of them. We can help them with freemiums so their business can survive.
Yeah, exactly. And just think about remote workers and people which are working from home that are looking for a predictable, stable income. That also will be very interesting for them. And it will be something that it will definitely make a big difference. Same thing will happen for those influencers who are trying to figure out how they can monetize. That's just an incredibly important thing. So as you can see, this whole model applies for absolutely everyone, but everybody sees it in a complete different way. So Frank, now that we have explained this, now that we know that everybody which is coming here has a different background and a different way of thinking, we need to try to make everybody understand how come this model fits everywhere. So, Frank, we've been talking a lot about the fourth industrial revolution, yet we have not explained it. Do you think that you can actually explain it for everybody which is watching right now?
Yeah, real quickly, it's actually the dawn of the fourth industrial revolution. And folks, what we mean about that real quickly, and we'll go into it a little bit deeper on, but back in 1760 to 1860, we had the steam engineering. We had the locomotive that went west. We had the beginning of hydropower. Then in the 1830s up to 1915, people were assembling things, but there was no real continuity or plan. And then Henry Ford developed the Model T, and the assembly line just re-engineered manufacturing. So we had the manufacturing industry. Then in the 70s, 69, 70, we had the dawn of the computer age. Many of you people listening can't even imagine life without computers. There is more power in your cell phone right now, folks, than everything NASA had when they launched the first man to the moon in 1969. So we had this new computing and new internet and new technology. But what we actually ended up with, folks, is multi-level customer interaction and customer profiling. We have to understand our audience, our language, and our behavior. But here's what else we have to understand: that digitization and integration has now built different value chains. We also have the digitization of products and services, that we no longer have that heavy manufacturing cost. We can send it digitally at a fraction of the cost. So we've taken the cost of acquisition down, which means we've taken the value away. So you have to re-engineer the value. And number three, the digital business models and the customer access. You've heard us say it already. We're going to continue saying it, because it's about customer acquisition and not the sales. We now have cloud computing. We now have the mobile devices where it's estimated that up to 65 to 70% of all page views are done on the mobile device. So my question for you to ponder: are you using all of the ability to get that information, the right message? And you're gonna see incredible footage that we have for you about the right messaging. And then you have the Internet of Things. Do you understand totally the Internet of Things? In short, It means that if it's connected to the internet, it's part of the Internet of Things. And it's estimated right now there's 50 billion devices, and over the next 5 years, there'll be 150 billion devices connected. So understand how to utilize it. Understand the advanced human-machine interaction, because we're going to talk about becoming a key person of influence rather than a functional person. Because if you're a functional person, tough roads ahead. But if you're a key person of influence and you understand how machines and humans interact, you're going to be way ahead, light years ahead. You won't have to worry about income for the next 10, 15, 20 years. We're going to talk a lot about identity theft because it can disrupt any business. And we're going to talk about how to use authentication and password management, things that'll protect your business. So buckle up, because big data analytics and the internet and the fourth industrial revolution is just beginning.
Absolutely. And to put everything into perspective, I think it's very important that we just try to understand what were the different ages that we have gone through. So in the 18th century, we were in the agricultural age. Basically, they were farmers. Then we moved into the 19th century, and that's when the Industrial Revolution, the first Industrial Revolution happened, and we went into factory workers. That was the industrial age. And then we went into the 20th century. That's where most of us were actually born, and we moved into the information age, where everything is about knowledge. And right now, we have entered into a digital era, into a virtual era, and COVID-19 has sped up this tremendously. And right now we are in the conceptual age, and basically everything is about concepts, concept working. And this is something that absolutely you need to have clear, because if not, you're going to have difficulties, because possibly you're still thinking like if we will still be in the information age. And no, we are not anymore in the information age.
No. And Ernesto, there's also some key elements that people have to understand and embrace as they now make this transition to the new world. Number one, I think it's critical that you must have a plan B. You have your main driver, you have your main income source, but do you actually have a plan B? And I'll give you an example, Ernesto. Just a side note, I was talking to some of my HR conference last week, and they're actually cross-training people so that as the layoffs and the furloughs continue, and what they're going to do, folks, they're going to have somebody be able to step right in and pick up your job when you're displaced. So if you don't have a plan B, start to get one. You have to consistently be adding value to your message. Value is your largest commodity that you can have. It's the most valuable real estate that you occupy. And number three, you have to build your personal brand so that when people are looking up to see who you are and are you the person that can solve their problems, they can find you. You're going to learn a lot about personal branding. So folks, you have to understand that machines and computers cannot deliver value. They can't. It's the human has to be able to deliver it. And there's 5 other elements that I want to share with you. And I think these are important. Number one, go to the marketplace with kindness and empathy, because we're living in really chaotic times right now. People are stressed out, whether it's from the pandemic or whether it's from jobs being displaced. They need a sympathetic ear when it comes to family. They need an empathetic ear when it comes to your business world. You also have to be gentle and understanding. Focus on the others. It's not about the me. What's in it for me and how do I do this? And we've got great content coming up, Ernesto. I'm just so excited about it that I almost want to spill it right here. But you need to do everything that you do is for the people that you want to serve in the future. And you also have to show respect for everyone. Bite your tongue. Show respect. You don't know where they're at in their world. You don't know what they're going through. They may have just lost a loved one to the epidemic. They may have had somebody that their job was lost and the parent is worrying about their children losing their homes and losing the business that we passed along. So we have to show respect for everybody at every turn and offer hope. Offer hope in your messaging. If you're not offering hope and inspiration, people aren't going to come back to you. They're not going to trust in you. They're not going to ask you to come in and solve problems in their business community. And most importantly, be humble. Be humble. It's not about you. You'll get your recognition. But if you think it's about you, don't even go on the journey. And those are key elements, folks, that I hope that you can embrace. And when we're on the implementation session, let's talk about them. Let's get a clearer understanding how you can start implementing them tonight.
Yeah, it's very interesting what you're saying, Frank, because it sounds new age and it sounds too woo-woo for many people. How is it possible that we're going to be talking about, well, you know what happens is that we're living in an era where 80% of the jobs available are going to be automated or robotized. So what's going to be that specific element that you require? It's going to be that kindness. It's going to be that hope. It's going to be that gentleness that you're talking about. And that, of course, it's what the new branding is all about. And this, it's very dear to me because I've been using it for a number of years. And it's something that made tremendous changes in my life. When I was a speaker at the beginning, I thought that everything was about me. And then I learned about the hero's journey. And this hero's journey completely took me by surprise. I mean, it makes a complete difference in whatever you're doing. And that's why I think this video that we're going to be showing to you is going to make a lot of sense, because it's how to combine your brand and how you could be that mentor that requires that hero so that you can actually take him into the next level. Have a look.
Storybrand by Donald Miller. In building a story brand, Donald Miller guides you through a framework to help you clarify your message so customers will listen. These days, it's desperately hard to get anybody's attention. The average consumer encounters 3,000 commercial messages a day, and most of them get ignored. In building a story brand, Donald Miller introduces us to a powerful framework that has been getting and keeping people's attention for thousands of years. If you want to get attention for your prospects, services, or for yourself, the author teaches you how by using a powerful story formula. Here's an example. Kyle Schultz was a photographer who created a course to teach parents how to take better photos of their kids. He launched with $28,000 in sales. His message was the power of photography in the hands of parents. After working through the Storybrand framework, his messaging evolved to, "We help parents take better pics," and the copy on his website went from 1,000 words down to less than 200 words. Instead of telling a confusing story, Kyle invited customers into a story. The result? His second launch to the same email list produced $103,000 in sales. Don't think for a second this book is about learning to tell your story. In fact, the author argues that telling your story is a great way to go bankrupt. Instead, try inviting customers into a story. Companies need to understand that the brand is not the hero. The customer is the hero. That's the only way to engage them. And the brand's role is to guide the hero successfully through their challenges. You want your brand to be the Yoda to Luke Skywalker, your customer. So how do you accomplish this? How do you invite a customer into a story? Every memorable story is built on a simple framework. A hero has a problem, meets a guide who gives them a plan, and calls them to action. Failure would be devastating, but the guide navigates the hero to success. Take any blockbuster movie and you'll see this framework applies. Most companies waste enormous amounts of money trying to tell their story. The truth is, nobody cares. But every human being wants to be invited into a story. They want you to offer them a vision of a better life, help them overcome challenges, act as their guide, and take them to a climactic scene in which their story ends happily. Start by going to your homepage. Are you making the story about you or the customer? As you're reading the book, take notes along the way, brainstorm and craft a clearer message for your brand, and then update all your communications. Your marketing should invite your customer into a story. If it doesn't, you're certainly losing thousands of dollars and you might even be losing millions.
What an incredible video, Ernesto. It's probably one of the best explanations of hero's journey I saw. And folks, I just want to share with you when I went on this journey several years ago, and Ernesto was coaching me and working with me. Your message is not getting out there. I said, yeah, but I don't want to be the hero. He told me about Joseph Campbell, The Hero's Journey. And I just wanted to go out and provide solutions. I didn't want to be a hero. I don't want the recognition. I was never in front of the camera. But when I understood what he was really saying, what Ernesto was saying is, I am not the hero. And many of the video scripts that I've written now, it's about the journey that I want to take my prospect on. It's about how I can help to guide them from the real world where they are to the world that they have to go out and confront, whether it's in their business life, their personal life, their spiritual life, their growth, and how to overcome the challenges that they're going to face. So you actually become the consigliere, you become the advocate, you become the guide. They're going to learn. You're going to be able to implement, folks, the beginning of your hero's journey, how you can serve your client base. And Ernesto, I want to thank you, because I was able to pass this on to my family as well, and they're now implementing it. So this is powerful stuff, folks.
Yeah, super powerful. I mean, at this point in time, I think it is just so critical. I mean, I've been a speaker for close to 30 years, and the biggest change that happened when I was there on the stage was when I started saying, well, you know, they're not coming to see me. They're coming to get my wisdom. They're coming to get my knowledge. I am not a celebrity, and I am not Justin Bieber. They're not going to go see how I perform. That's not what they want to see. They want to see what value I can bring to their lives. So they are the stars. Now, this is a very deep concept, because, of course, it's going to make a big difference in the success that you have with the freemium model, or not applying the freemium model correctly. But now, before we go into that, Frank, can you explain to us, how does this link to the fourth industrial revolution?
Okay, folks, quickly, welcome to the Industrial Revolution 4.0. What we want to explain to you here is, yeah, we started with 1.0, which was the mechanical, was the steam engine, was the hydropower. Then we went on to, we had electricity, and we had the steel mills and the melting pots. And everything that was done in industry was about empowering the corporation. It was about scalable efficiency, but it was always at the cost of doing things right for the corporation. But then we started getting into the internet. We started getting into personal computers. We started having the information age. And as we switched over into the digital age, right about 2000, when it really started tracking, and we started having, in 2008, 2009, the smartphones, and we started pushing all of this digital, and it was automated, and complex tasks were simplified. It then became about empowering the people. It came about scalable adaptability, but different than the industrial age. This was about doing the right thing. It wasn't about doing things right. It was about, what can we do to make a difference out there? And I'm not going to get social with anybody, but if you're not out there and providing value, and people know you care, people know you understand, and you're going to be in there to serve that client now, next month, next year, but when they're ready, and that's the freemium model, getting them in. The blur between the physical and the cyber digital divide, it's gone. But the most important thing, folks, never ever lose sight that we're there to serve our clients.
Yeah, you're right, Frank. And I think this is just super important. I mean, on yesterday's episode, we had Barbara Cochran and Kevin O'Leary, that they were talking about how important it is to know how to tell your video, how to tell your story, and the power of the usage of video. Frank, for you, how important has this been into the past 2 years that we have been working together?
I've opened up multiple streams of income as a result of it. I was able to build a very, very clear, defined, and scalable product ecosystem, Ernesto, rather than just having one sole source, call it a plan A, if you would. All of a sudden, I've got multiple. I've got offers coming from large corporations and associations that are asking me to do business with them. That never happened before, Ernesto. And you know, the ride that people can go on, if they'll just buckle up, we can take you from where you are today. Even if you think you don't have a story, or it's not clearly defined, or you don't think that somebody else is going to want to hear your message, I think you're wrong. And that's the purpose of the implementation sessions that we're running for you and Ernesto immediately after this broadcast. We're going to be there to help you to get clearly defined. So it's not about the journey I've taken, Ernesto, for the last few years. because that's just been incredible. And as you've heard me say so many times, I'm just beginning. I believe it was on March 12, 2020. It all changed. The world stopped. Business doing it the way it was is no longer. But you, Ernesto, to your credit, you said, well, what are we going to do now? And you started an incredible little show called The Toilet Paper Diaries. And when you built it, it wasn't about making money. It was not about making money. And folks, you can go back in and you can look at the episodes. There's 75 episodes out there, I think. And,
a lot more.
and a lot more now because you've rebranded. But during that, folks, what you're going to see, because we're not just saying this to you, we're actually living the stuff that we're sharing with you. But he was building and sharing empathy. What he ended up growing was organically an international tribe. And it was because of the empathy. It was because of the understanding. It was because of the incredible content and helping to find solutions for others. And never, ever once did Ernesto say, what's in it for me? He was in it for the long haul. And so I just wanted to give you credit for that, Ernesto. And hopefully people can understand and see this is why we've created this 5-day challenge.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's the entire clue on how this whole new economy works. I mean, this is the economy of free. And later on, you're going to be meeting Chris Anderson, which is the one that actually brought this to life.
Yeah.
But what I think is very important is, of course, I mean, the human element is very important. But when we go into technicals, this is also critical. You need to know it because, I mean, I won't explain much. Just watch this video.
Who seeks recognition?
Emmer from Minnesota.
The gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to strike the last word, obviously. Today's gig economy sprung out from the last recession. It offers a job to anyone who wants one. During COVID-19, we must make sure that our nation's sole proprietors and the smallest of small businesses receive timely.
Will the gentleman suspend? I'm sorry, Mr. Emmer?
Yes,
Are you okay?
I am.
You're upside down, Tom.
Mr. Ponton, I believe you have a filter turned on in the video settings. You might want to take
we're
a
trying look. Can you hear me, Judge?
I can hear you. I think it's a filter.
It is, and I don't know how to remove it. I've got my assistant here. She's trying to, but I'm prepared to go forward with it. I'm here live. I'm not a cat.
Yeah. Folks, I think you would say that would be a little bit embarrassing. Testifying before,
to say the least.
To say the least, testifying before the United States Congress, right? So Ernesto, you're a master at branding speakers. What do you recommend to people who are either not technically savvy or they're camera shy?
That's a great question. Here's what I recommend, because I think this is something that everybody needs to take very seriously. You have to communicate through video. But here's the problem. Once again, most people think about me, and they start talking about themselves. When you take the camera, figuratively speaking, I mean, we're not going to be actually talking, well, of course you have to put yourself on the camera, you have to appear on the camera and sometimes, but instead of actually focusing on you, you focus on your audience, you're going to start seeing that it makes a huge difference. So what I mean is, instead of actually creating content where you talk about how incredible you are and how fantastic you are, right now, I mean, there's a big thing about this new social media platform, which is called Clubhouse. And you go inside of those Clubhouse rooms and everybody can actually talk. But normally, whenever I go into those rooms, the person which is talking is always talking about how many millions they have done and how many billionaires they have met and how many cars they have, and that nobody cares. What it's important is you have to document, and this is the most important thing. Write it down. Instead of creating, document every single thing that you find which is going to be interesting for you, anything that you find which is going to be valuable for your audience, share it. And that is going to start making you a person of value. This is one of the key points on the freemium model. And I hope that you make a note of it, because later on, I think it's going to make a lot more sense to you.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And can I give a little bit of advice to you folks out there right now? When you're out there, it's not about creating an hour long this and a 2 hour that, because you're gonna hinder yourself and hold yourself back, saying, "Well, I don't have enough content to create a whole hour worth of presentation." Ernesto, do you remember the time that you were watching? You were one of my replays of a webinar I did, and it was for a large corporation up in Virginia. And you stopped it about 15, 20 minutes in. You said, "Stop, enough." And you made me shut it off. And do you remember what you said to me at that point with that? We've done so many things, so I don't want to put you on the spot. But
what happened was that you were covering all sorts of different cyber crimes. You were talking about sextortion. You were talking about God knows how many other ones. And I said, listen, in that presentation itself, in these 15 minutes that you have spoken, you have about 15 different videos that you can create and explain each and every one of them. And that's exactly what you did. And you created it and you put it together on your YouTube channel. Now, what happens is that most people, whenever they see their YouTube channel, they say, well, yeah, it's my YouTube channel. What's the difference between YouTube and the rest of the social media platforms? First of all, YouTube is not a social media platform. It is a video library resource that you will have. So if you create one video, that video is going to stay there for ages. Right now, you're seeing here on screen the channel from Frank, the YouTube channel from Frank. And as you can see, I mean, most of these videos have 700, 800, 900 views. And what has been the result of you sharing these videos with other people? So I think this is important, because the moment that people start seeing, oh, now I'm starting to understand the freemium, they're going to see how powerful it is. So what has been your experience after, sharing these videos in the special way that we're going to be sharing in the next few days?
Well, it's actually been incredible, and it's now becoming organic. But in there, it's never about what I'm doing. And I encourage everybody to go in and look at a few of them. You're going to see that we're sharing the hero's journey one more time. We're sharing that there are a unique set of problems out there that everybody faces, personal or business-wise or family-wise, and they're looking for solutions. But never in there, Ernesto, do we talk about charging anybody for any of the valuable information. And it's growing daily and monthly, the content that I'm dumping in there. And I hope people heard what you said about once you put it in YouTube, in your YouTube channel, it's there forever. But if you put it on Facebook or LinkedIn or Snapchat or Twitter, they might see it for 10, 15 minutes or a day or two, and it's gone.
Yeah.
But it also, Ernesto, validated to the people that want to do business with me in the future on the corporate level. They now know that, oh, my God, he's out here. I have clients that call me just this week, Ernesto. They said, well, somebody referred a video you did, and I saw that. Can you come speak at our large conference? Mm-hmm. and it never would have happened. So, folks, the journey of 1,000 steps starts with one.
Absolutely. And I think at this point, I would like to break it down. If you are shy a little bit on the camera or you don't feel very comfortable, I'm going to give you a great tool. So what I want you to go is I'm going to take you to my screen, and I'm going to show you one tool which you can start using and how to use it so that you can really train yourself and also start sharing content before you can actually start really doing all these YouTube things that we're going to be teaching you. So right now, as you can see, we are here in this website that is called Vidyard, Vidyard. And this one, it's great. So first of all, I want you to see that it works with a freemium. So they have a free version, which is all you need for the time being, because of course you're going to use this as a tool to practice, and it will be very useful for you, because as you can see, you can sign for $15 a month, or for teams for $300 a month, or for business for $1,250 a month. So that's exactly how the freemium system works over here. But let me just show you how this platform works. So I have already created an account myself, so you go in, and it will take you to your library. Here in your library, you will be able to either install the Chrome extension or go to the App Store and get it. And here you can install in the Chrome extension. And this is a very, very cool tool. You just install it, and if you're using Chrome, you will be able to use it. So now you click, for example, here where it says record a video. And you can create videos in 3 different ways. So you can create videos with your screen, you being like here, you being here, and then with your camera, which is great. For example, if you're going to be doing some post where you're going to be talking about a PowerPoint presentation, or you're going to be talking about an article or something that you created, you can record your screen, or you can also have your camera. You could also just make videos with your camera, which of course it's incredibly useful. Now, what I think is even super cool is if you click here where it says theme, as soon as you finish your video, you can create a page that will have your video with a theme. You can have your buttons, you can have some different things that you want to show, you can have your logo, you can have a favicon, whatever you want. It's really super useful. And you can also integrate it with page action kind of thing. So for example, well, if you are promoting something, you can click there. It has a ton of different things. Now, what is also very interesting, it has a lot of integrations, and this one I love. So if you see here, it has only three: Salesforce, Marketo, and HubSpot. But then if you click here where it says see integrations, it can integrate your videos, and it can actually send your videos through a number of different platforms, as you can see here. So you can send them to Facebook. You can create one video and upload it into Facebook automatically, or you can put it on LinkedIn, or you can put it on Twitter, which is just down here. There's Twitter, and you can do all sorts of things directly, publish into your website. So this, immediately you can also put it into YouTube, and also by using Zapier, you will be able to distribute your video everywhere. So this is a great tool for you, so that you will be able to be creating content regularly on your screen, on your computer, or also you can download it on your phone and instantly start creating videos. It's a lot easier to do it. So the technology with Vidyard is super. Now, one of the things that I recommend is that you definitely make sure that as soon as we finish this session, that you go into Vidyard and you get it installed in your computer and in your phone, and you start playing with it.
Vidyard is a great tool. Start using it, folks. Experiment with it, and let's begin that journey with you.
Yeah, let me just bring this video, and I think this video, it's going to be super powerful. Gary Vaynerchuk, it's presenting in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur, for my friends Richard and Veronica Tan in Success Resources. It's a 2.5-minute video, which is going to encapsulate every single thing that we have been saying, and it's going to make it crystal clear. Have a look.
When I was 31 years old, I was making less than $100,000 a year working in a liquor store, building a business for my dad, and was going to be leaving 3 years later owning nothing. Under 31, I worked in a liquor store, ringing people up at the register. Everybody wants to get to a place, very few are willing to sacrifice to get there. Everybody wants something, and very few people are executing to go there. The amount of people whose actions match to the ambition coming out of their mouth is very low. There is no shortcuts, there is no secret, there's no system or model. The very basic nature of this, no matter what you do in this room, the customer that you're trying to reach is either very difficult to get to or very easy to get to on your ability to understand what's happening in the world. What I mean by that is, there's only marketing and sales. There's marketing and branding, and then there's sales. Understanding how they're different and why they're different is important, and then understanding how to do marketing and branding so that you're not at the mercy of sales, is an incredibly important thing to do for long-term success. So for me, I spend all my time trying to figure out for my businesses and for the businesses I'm an investor in, how do you build a brand so that you're not at the mercy of sales or other platforms? How do I get you to want to do business, period, regardless of any other variable? The only way to do that is to bring more value to the consumer than you're asking for in yourself. The main reason that people struggle with social media content being successful for them is because when they post, they're selfish, not selfless. The number one reason, if you've been trying to grow your audience on these platforms and it is not successful, normally 90% of the time, it's because when you post, you're posting for yourself, not for your audience. You want it for you, not for them, period. And for me, that has been the foundational reason where a lot of my stuff has worked. And so for me, my number one challenge, Malaysia, is can you go 2 months with putting out content that only brings people value and creates nothing for you in return? You have to understand that intent is the most important part of the process. If you're putting out a piece of content just so it goes into your funnel so that you can make money on that person, you're fucked. If the second you post a video or a picture or written words, in your heart, the reason you're writing it, the reason you're recording it, the reason you're posting it is to get them into you so you can sell them, you're in trouble. Because you may be good enough in the short term to get some money up front, but you will never build something long-term and meaningful. And until you understand that, you will continue to look for shortcuts, quick fixes, systems, and all sorts of other horse shit to let you make some money in the short term. And that is the macro vulnerability.
Absolutely incredible. Probably the best video I've seen Gary Vee do. And folks, take note that what he said in there, that is that your action map is rarely on cue with your ambition map. But what he also said in there was, he said your customer is either very difficult to get or very easy to get. And that's going to be on who you are. That's going to be on your mindset. That's going to be on the value that you're ready to bring to that prospect. Because if you don't have that mindset and you don't have the value and you don't have little things like the YouTube behind you, it is going to be difficult at every turn. But if they know that you're coming for an appointment, I'm talking to my salespeople, my entrepreneurs, my business owners, and they had a chance to look at the freemium that you've offered others, there is no challenge. It's a matter of they're going to say, when can you come in? So that's what you look at with the Gary Vee video. But also what Gary said, and this was so critical when I saw it. He said, you got to understand your marketing and your branding, and you have to understand your sales. So when you're creating content, when you're putting stuff together to validate it, don't fall for the me. Don't fall that the content is to make the sale. The content is for you to enhance a freemium model that people are going to come and they're going to know, they're going to like, they're going to trust, they're going to want to do business with you at the right time,
Right now, we have gone from live environment that used to be prior to the pandemic, where everybody was going into events and they were doing live things and whatever. Right now, we are going virtual. And even when we go back and we are doing hybrid events and these kind of things, we definitely need to change the way that we see things. And so this reminds me of something that Walt Disney used to do in the past when he was doing animations. And this is something that is called rotoscoping. If you're not familiar with rotoscoping, let me just show you this video, and then I'll explain to you why this is so powerful.
Have you ever noticed how some Disney characters move, dance, and trip just like other characters? Old school animators in the 60s used a technique called rotoscoping to draw over a real actor's footage and achieve realistic movement. They also flipped images and added new stuff to a scene to make it look brand new. Sometimes they would just recolor footage from one movie to turn it into an entirely different one. Animation has always been an elaborate and expensive process, So they did this to save a little time and money. They still do it in modern movies too, by reusing 3D models on new movies. Now you know why some scenes feel strangely familiar.
So now you see, I mean, basically, you can take all the knowledge, you can take all the information, you can take all the preparation, all the education that you have from your past life, pre-pandemic life. And right now, if you understand the concept that we're going to be sharing with you throughout this week, you will be able to rotoscope what you were doing before to what you need to do right now. Don't you think that, Frank, is one of the most valuable things that they're going to be getting this week?
Each and every one of you listening to us has a story. Each and every one of you have life experiences. And each and every one of you has the ability to bring that forward. And don't think that you have to have a huge market. There's a world out there. It's not just Houston, Texas, or New York City, or Miami, Florida. There's a whole world out there waiting to hear your story. You could be a vegetarian bodybuilder, and there's a group of people. So don't lose that ambition, and make sure you understand the freemium model. This is the next revolution in the way business will be done. And over the next couple of nights, you're going to see that almost every place you turn, the big corporations are successfully using the freemium model. So I encourage them, even if they have to pay $6 or $7, Ernesto, they need to go in. Chris Anderson, Free is the name of the book. So let me share, we found this on the internet, and it was called Business Lessons from a Drug Dealer. And by no sense do we want you to be a drug dealer. But but you know, it's really kind of unique, Ernesto. Number one, don't take product for granted. See, you have to create the best product in the marketplace for your customers. Otherwise, they're going to find it elsewhere. And the drug dealer knew that. Use word of mouth marketing. Let it go viral. See, if your product is good enough, people will talk about it, and the word of mouth matters, and it'll go viral. Especially, we're going to do stuff that the drug dealers can't do. We're going to go viral on social media. They have to hide at the street corner. But the freemium business model, I hate to say it, Ernesto, but the drug dealers use it. And if you give a little for free, you're going to get the customers coming back to you over and over and over again. And the last one, control the supply. They control the supply. They don't want any other drug dealers in. And I don't know about you folks, but I do know this. I don't mind sharing and collaborating with other people in my field. I do it all the time, because if we give, we will receive. However, I do want to control my niche. I do want to control my space. And so we're going to work with you, but I want you to control the supply. The supply being the amount of people that are coming to you. Yeah. And we can help you in every phase, because if you control the supply, you can have your products in the marketplace and get rewarded proportionate to the information that you're giving out. You don't have to get in, and too many good companies, we've all seen it, have to lower their price just to compete. Guys, when you're a key person of influence and you're providing the freemium model with value, you don't have to lower your price. As a matter of fact, you probably have to increase your price, because there's plenty of business out there. I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, that is correct. And I think you guys are in for a treat this week. We are now about to finish this Monday. And please make sure that you, as soon as we finish, that you join us in the Facebook group. There's going to be a link there for you so that you can join us in the live implementation session, where we're going to be sharing with you exactly how to start implementing. And obviously, this is only for the business class and the first class. So if you're not there, remember, join us, because if not, you are missing out. So let me just share with you quickly a concept that we call the doggy bag. We have given you a full meal today. There's been a ton of stuff for you to ponder, to consider, but we always want to give you a little bit more. The doggy bag is whenever you go to a restaurant, you normally have the little leftovers and you take them there with you. And you're going to find your doggy bag also there on the Facebook group. And that is going to be I don't want to call it homework. It's going to be the extra stuff that we're going to be having there. So there's going to be a learning module. There's going to be also the instructions so that you need to go and download Vineyard and start playing with it. I suggest that you also go and get the book free for free. And Frank, it's been a great start from the challenge. And we'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Go to the Facebook group.